The world of kayfabe. Stories within the wrestling world manifest themselves as true. Stories that include supernatural activity, horrifically tasteless events, and one time, a 77-year-old woman gave birth to a hand. Death, crime, and other powerful circumstances surround the wrestling industry, as told by the wrestling industry on weekly television and pay-per-view events. But how bad are these circumstances? That's where I come in, the purveyor of truth, to find out what is right and what is wrong. In Kayfabe.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to In Kayfabe. I'm brought to you with the Matt Attack UK, Matt Willis. How are we doing, my good sir?
I'm doing reasonably well. Thank you very much. Reasonably well.
So, Matt, before we get in, let's talk about your wrestling fandom. Where did that come from, and why does it continue?
It originated from two of my oldest friends, Scott and Rob. They got me into wrestling by making me watch the King of the Ring 99 VHS and Unforgiven 99. Now, both were amazing events. But it wasn't until I watched Hell in a Cell at Armageddon 2000 that I knew that wrestling is what I wanted to be, something I want to watch. And I've not missed a pay-per-view since. I've even gone back and watched the Mission Chamber this year when I originally said I'm not watching that. I have gone back and watched it. Regret every moment of it, but I've gone back and watched it. I've not been a single wrestling pay-per-view for WWE since then. Oh, God. There's some crap in there.
Yeah, but there's crap everywhere in the world of wrestling.
Yes.
As we can discuss later. But let's start with the past segment. In the year 2009, Randy Orton was going through an explosive mental disorder with lawyers and stuff, all stemming from the fact that he kicked a then 63-year-old Vincent K. McMahon in the head on January 19th, 2009 in Chicago, Illinois.
Yes.
Now, in the state of Illinois, battery, which is willful striking of an unwilling participant, is how I'll put it, is punishable up to 1 year of imprisonment, a fine of up to $2,500 or both, probation for up to 2 years, and restitution, which is essentially. Do you think Randy Orton could get charged with this count of battery?
I think that this is the thing. I think he absolutely could. At the same time, you look at the whole thing about. I mean, they were in the ring at the time, I believe. Basically, as they've always said, in between those ropes, anything goes, pretty much. But at the same time, the building is owned by Vince McMahon. Well, the WWE is owned by Vince, obviously. I'm just trying to look at from all the angles.
He's the primary shareholder.
He's the primary shareholder, the chairman of the board, the CEO, the man who can fire in a heartbeat. And in fairness, he was about to fire Randy Orton.
Yes, he said "your," and then struck.
Yeah. What amazed me, I'll get on to after this bit, because I've actually got further legal things regarding this one incident, actually, is that Randy Orton could have been charged with battery for that, absolutely, and assault for that, absolutely, not 100%. The fact that he then was allowed to go on and compete in the Royal Rumble match the week later, after having done that, the McMahon's waiting till the day after the Rumble when he won it to actually act. Nobody in their right mind would have left it that long. Nobody would have done that. That's flawed, in my opinion.
Yes, but there was another Monday Night Raw because Randy Orton exclusively was on Monday nights.
True, but they could have banned him on the pay-per-view itself from mentioning that.
It's true. It's
So
true.
they've done all this sort of stuff before, and they had it wasn't pre-show then. I think it was Heat that was happening at the time. Then before pay-per-views, they certainly had time to ban him, or they could literally have just come out and said, have Orton enter number one, sort of thing, and then not allow him to.
I agree. I think that
It was a little odd.
Gross incompetence from the WWE kayfabe legal department.
Who have a sketchy history at times as well, let's face it.
Yes, as we've seen multiple times on this show. If this were to go in front of a jury of his peers in the state of Illinois, do you think that he would get charged with all of this stuff? Do you think he would only get imprisonment? Do you think he'd only get the fine?
Was his first offence? No. The punt kick had been used multiple times before that point already. So it's not. It wouldn't have been his first offence. By that point, if he'd been charged for this one, he would have been charged for the other things as well in the past. Shawn Michaels, Rob Van Dam, to name but two. Top of my head.
This is only a misdemeanor battery charge.
I know.
In the state, not federal.
I know, but it would still be on his record, I'm sure, from other states. I'm not familiar with Illinois law. I must admit, I'm not familiar with American law in general. But I can say that if I was a juror on that jury, I'd be like, you were about to be fired, so instead of so you couldn't be fired, you assaulted the man. I'd give him the full sentence personally.
And it's fully on camera. The evidence is nationally televised.
Yeah. But then you counter that with the fact of he said that he had a medical condition, which meant he was prone to things. That sort of thing can always lessen the charge if you find a jury which is sympathetic.
I believe the charge probably would be insanity / medical reason. That's what he would plead as, Randy Orton, the character.
The fact that he was already using the theme song voices as well, it's the only real time that he's actually used that to his advantage. I mean, for so long he used that song and actually wasn't actually playing a crazy character either. So yeah, my point still stands. Even despite that, I think they would have thrown the book at him for that.
And then a little over a month later, maybe a little less than a month, in the state of Washington, he assault and battered Vince's children, Stephanie and Shane. 4th-degree assault and reckless endangerment are both punishable by up to 364 days in jail and a fine up to $5,000.
So he punted Shane in the head, didn't he?
Yeah, and I believe he RKO'd Stephanie McMahon.
He RKO'd definitely, but I also believe that he punted Shane during an unsanctioned match, so there's no legal ramifications for that.
Right. So that out the door.
For Shane, you can't count that because he actually went into that saying whatever happens, happens. So I'm like, that's fine then for that. However, he knowingly and willingly decided to deliver the 3 most devastating letters in the vocabulary in WWE, the RKO, to one of the bosses of the company. I'm relatively sure that people would not take kindly to a man striking a woman.
Correct. And then other stuff happened. We could charge him with other stuff. We're just gonna glaze over that because this is a family-friendly show, all about assault.
Yes. He crossed some lines. Did Randy definitely?
Yeah. So shifting gears, moving forward in time to the present. The present, of course, in terms of kayfabe, becoming a Hall of Famer makes you invincible. Now, we've seen this time and time again for reunion shows and Saudi Arabia shows in which older superstars in the Hall of Fame have certain superpowers that they did not have before when they were not Hall of Famers and active, such as Goldberg in Saudi Arabia. What are your thoughts on that, Matt?
Goldberg in Saudi Arabia, is that because he defeated the Fiend?
For the Universal Championships, yes.
Let's face it, if you give someone enough spears, eventually they're going to throw down.
Right, but the Fiend is not man. He is not a mortal man. He is a supernatural being.
That is true. However, I will remind you of someone from the, should we say, the rock and roll era? Hulk Hogan is who I'm going to admit. Anyone who pinned him for a 3 count, he stood up straight away after the 3. He wouldn't let them have their moment, sort of thing. So the fact that the Fiend got up almost immediately after Goldberg got a 3 count, I'd say that's more a case of he stole a 3 count rather than he having a superpower. I think that maybe he did have a superpower because of the fact he didn't kill The Undertaker, to be brutally honest, in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia is a very weird thing in which it happens in kayfabe and also not. There are some things.
Yes. We won't get into that because that touches on it as well, to be brutally honest.
Yeah. I mean, I was just going to say that they shouldn't hold any more Royal Rumbles because they've already held the best one that they're ever going to hold, the greatest Royal Rumble. But
no, because Royal Rumble is an amazing event, and I love wanting more of them.
I agree with you, but in terms of kayfabe, you already peaked.
They should have just called it the biggest Royal Rumble. Not say the greatest, the biggest.
The mediocre at best Royal Rumble is what I called it at the time.
I remember covering it. Yeah, I also picked the winner as well.
But out of that, but other reunion shows like the Raw 25 reunion where D-Generation X comes out and destroys the Revival.
Yeah.
I mean, DX just had numbers back then in the Attitude Era. They did not have these monster stopping moves.
To be fair, DX had Triple H, who, let's face it, he could bury you on or off camera.
He is the biggest kayfabe character of all time.
Indeed. Shawn Michaels, if you got hit with a super kick, you went down, you're staying down.
The strongest foot in the history of wrestling.
Mm-hmm. You have got Road Dogg and Billy Gunn and X-Pac. Give you that. The numbers thing is at this point it's starting to make a lot more sense for your argument, and I would definitely agree with that. The weird thing is the legitimacy that they actually had was with China, and obviously China's not around anymore. I would like to point out at this point that anyone that beats down a Revival, in my opinion, gets a pass. I've never been a fan.
Everyone is entitled to their opinion.
Even if it's wrong,
yes,
they're entitled to their opinion.
Yes.
This happens to be my opinion, mainly because it didn't connect with me.
Which is fine.
Yes. Maybe it's because they were underutilized or whatever reason it was. They just didn't connect with me. So when they were making the whole all fists, no flips, I'm like,
but they win tag team championships. So that's not a gimmick. That's a way of winning. Because as we know, championship gold equals higher paychecks.
They were Raw Tag Team Champions going to WrestleMania 35. They weren't even on the show.
Fair.
I was there. Trust me.
Fair.
And the pop when they
That was a
lost.
good match, though. I knew exactly what was going to happen. Actually, I didn't know it was going to happen, if I'm being honest, but I thought I knew it was going to happen, and it was a good match.
It was. The cheer for that he lost was bigger than the shit that the other guy that won. I've got to be honest. But in any case, we're not here to talk about that part of it.
No.
I will agree that Hall of Famers do seem to have revitalization. I mean, Kurt Angle, when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame when he came back to the WWE, the prime example, went on to have some very good matches when he came back. He took part in the 5-on-3 TLC match after Roman Reigns got meningitis, for example. He took part in Ronda Rousey's match against Triple H and Stephanie at WrestleMania. Did a good job there. The less said about his final match, the better. But he was on borrowed time when he just wasn't. Physically, he wasn't. He couldn't do anymore. But there was moments when he was still probably the best in the ring, still in the business, even at his age. I don't know. I don't know if anyone will ever be able to compare to Kurt Angle ever. Even Lesnar.
Oh, well, I don't know about that.
I think
he's the way that he dismantled John Cena in 2014 is a prime example of why he is one of the greatest characters.
He did, but as if to prove your point, he lost in 1 minute 16 seconds.
That is true.
To Goldberg at Survivor Series. But what before he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, I'd like to point out, though, of course.
Yes. Well, he then beat Goldberg at WrestleMania, which is where it matters, as we all know.
It is. That was a good match, but I do understand your point of view here. Sometimes it does feel like they have. Well, when Hogan came back and fought the Great Khali, for example, defending Hornswoggle. I mean, sorry, you're not beating anyone, Hogan. So you're not someone of that size at your age. Sorry.
We just have to look back at Royal Rumble 2008, where Jimmy Snuka and Roddy Piper came out, and they were beating up guys 20, 30 years younger than them.
They didn't stick around long, though, did they?
It's true, but
it was a moment. It was a moment where when the Honky Tonk Man came back, for example, in 2001 Rumble, he came in, sang his song, got hit in the head with a guitar, and got thrown out.
But we're gonna move forward in time to the future. As we know, probably currently right now, NXT is back on Tuesday nights. Well, I'm saying back on Tuesday nights because they used to be on Tuesday nights back when it was NXT The Game Show, back when it was ECW for 1 hour. And little me was very excited to see Tommy Dreamer. But that's neither here nor there. I think in terms of kayfabe, this puts NXT right back in the slot that it deserves. Tuesday nights, right in the middle, right after Monday Night Raw, the flagship show of the World Wrestling Entertainment.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I remember the days when SmackDown was live on Tuesday nights. You get your Monday, you get your Tuesday, and then you have nothing to watch until the next week on Raw, of course. Because AEW wasn't a thing then, obviously. Impact was actually going head to head Monday night, and lost badly. I like this new idea. I like this new thing. We're going to have Raw, NXT, AEW, Impact, SmackDown. We've got a week of wrestling all sorted out.
And then on Sundays, Total Bellas and Total Divas.
Absolutely.
And on what I believe it's on Tuesdays is also Ms. and Mrs. I wonder if that's going to be changed.
I'm working on that one still. You've got to warm me up to that one.
It's actually a really good show.
You've got to warm me up to that one. I cannot stand Mariz. Calling it Mariz. That would have been a much better show. Mariz.
But yeah, NXT, as we all know, used to be a reality competition show filled with games and promo battles and wrestling. Can't forget Daniel Bryan versus Chris Jericho.
Mm-hmm. It's not the NXT when they actually had matches on NXT rather than Goldust and Ixana's marriage storyline. Oh my God, that was cringe-worthy at best and embarrassing at worst. But at the same time, some of the actual stuff that was happening in the ring, you saw some amazing talents. I mean, I'd heard of Bryan Danielson, and then you got to see him competing with Daniel Bryan, and I'm like, kid can wrestle. And then obviously when he got called to the main roster and did the infamous tie pull, with what we now know about Justin Roberts, maybe should have pulled a little tighter. But in the end, he's gone on to become one of the biggest stars in the entire business.
It's true. So
NXT really is what produced the next level. Thing is, though, from NXT's first season, only Daniel Bryan is still in the company. I mean, Wade Barrett does commentary on NXT now. Yes,
but I'm pretty sure most of them are still wrestling, right?
Well, Slater's in Impact now. Skip Sheffield, we don't talk about because obviously.
Well, Skip Sheffield only exists in terms of Nexus.
Yes, but it's Steinberg, Ryback. He's
different person. You're thinking of two different people. Skip Sheffield and Ryback are two different wrestlers. They're the two different people, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I fully embrace kayfabe. You know me, but that is ridiculous. Like,
no, two different people. I don't know what to tell. They're two very differently presented people. Skip Sheffield is a cow farm boy, and Ryback is the eater of all worlds. He's always hungry.
Good. Darren Young, I do feel that they missed a trick with Darren Young. He's not the company more, I believe. I believe he is now either on independence or out of business, unfortunately. Michael Tarver, I haven't heard anything about him since Nexus broke up. Justin Gabriel, after what I saw him do to JoJo on Total Divas, he can go to hell. I never get everything in that show. It's amazing. And I think that's everybody. I'm probably forgetting somebody. Oh yeah, David Otunga, because everyone forgets him.
David Otunga is one of the greatest Raw commentators of all time. Up there with Dio Madden and CM Punk.
CM Punk, I'll let you have, but Dio Madden, he was wasted on commentary. But at the same time, I
wonder what happened to him.
I think maybe he's gonna get some retribution.
There we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that NXT on Tuesdays makes so much sense.
It does. It makes so much sense. And the thing is, I have seen a lot of people on various social media saying like one company's won, one company's lost. I'm like, I think someone very smart once said the people who won is the fans. And that's a very good statement because I agree with it. We as wrestling fans have now got so much amazing content to watch. And the best part about that is that it's manageable. We haven't got to try and squeeze it in on everything else sort of thing. So if you want to watch NXT and AEW, you haven't got to, but if you want to, you can now choose to do so live. No problem at all. You haven't got to choose one or the other and try and fit it around what's happening on your Thursday, your Friday before it rolls around again, sort of thing. Because you quickly get on top of it, can't you?
It's true. It's true. Well, Matt, thank you for joining me today. Where can we find you if you want to plug anything?
If you want to find anything I'm involved in, you can find it on Visionaries Global Media. You find them at Viz Global Media on all good podcasting devices and some bad ones as well, no doubt. You can find me directly at Matt UK. The main show you can find me on is Good Cop, Bad Cop Wrestling Podcast, which is not doing too bad. It's 137 episodes going so far. So I think it's done. I think it's all right, to be really honest. And in fact, I think you actually are our most repeat guest, Micah.
Me?
I believe so.
I've been on 3 times.
Yeah, no, right.
What can I say? That people love me, and thank you for joining me. Just remember that I've been me, you've been you. Thanks for watching.